Technocrafts. In the previous video, we have discussed about list and maps at the high level with an example. In this video, we will try to discuss more about list. So this is the hierarchy of the list. Basically, we have IEEE interface and collection interface and list interface declared, provided by Java APIs, and array list, linked list are the classes implementing the list interface. So why do we need IEEE? IEEE basically we have elements in the collection. So if you want to access those elements and iterate over the elements, either backward or forward, basically we can use the IEEE interface, which will provide the access to the elements. So collections is an interface which is the base interface for the collection package, and it is being implemented by most of the collection classes. So a collection represents a group of objects, right? So known as its elements. So some collections might have a duplicate elements, some does not allow, some requires sorted order of the elements, some does not need sorted order. So based on the features and properties of your collection requirements, basically we have the collection interface, which is a generic implementation. So you can use this collection interface to implement your own collection object class if it requires. So here comes the list interface, which is implementing the collection interface. So the list interface is being extended by array list, linked list, row list, stack, and vector. Vector is a legacy and not much popular at the moment, but basically let's go into array list, right? So array list is basically these are the features of array list, which means that it is dynamically resizable. What is dynamic resizing? Let's take an example over here. So let's go to the code. So let's declare an array list for us. Okay, so my array and is equal to array list, right? So here I have declared my array list basically. So you can see that it accepts no arguments in the construction. So what would be the size of the initially declared? So if you are using an array, basically you can declare the size of the array. You have to declare it, right? So basically you can declare some 5 elements. So the size of the array will remain 5, so it will not grow or shrink during your processing. But here it's in the array list, it is a dynamic resizing. So initially if you don't mention anything, it will be the size of 10, so that you can add 10 elements over here. And if you are going to add more elements, right, based on the load factor, it keeps on increasing the size internally, right? So that is the purpose of saying that it is dynamically resizable. And order of elements, right? So basically the order of elements is preserved, so it it keeps on the order which you are trying to add to the array list. Let's take an example. So since I have the code already over here, so let's copy it. uh, so let's say I'm adding 5 elements over here to my array, right? Let's print the size of it. So it should be of size 10, right? Okay, so this is of size 4. So if I want to get the order, if I want to know if it is keeping the order or not, so let's say that the order is, let's pick up the second one. So the second index is at 40, so it should print the 40. So we know that it is maintaining the order, whatever the order we are trying to add it. That is the feature of the array list. So it maintains the order. And index based, so index based means we are trying to access the by index. Index is something like 0 1 2 3. The first element is 0 and the last element is n, so that it follows the sequence, right? If you want the last element, basically you can get int minus length, int minus size, sorry, and minus 1. So this is the last element that we have in the list. So let's run this. So you should return the last element over here. So that's good. So basically it does not accept primitives, even though we are adding 10 as a primitive type, but it will not accept primitives since it is the typecasting it internally into an object. So let's try that. So let's say that we are trying to get the last element, and let's return it. So my val, so it is not type, it is typecasting internally. So let's say because we are adding integer as a over here, so let's remove the integer here and see. So it will complain that typecast to object. So it is the default object that it is returning. Or if you are choosing int, basically it by default it typecast into int. So this is what we know. So that is the reason why we are saying that the primitives are not used. So it is not synchronized. Synchronization, as we discussed earlier, if you do not know what is synchronization, please look into my previous video which talks about synchronization. So see, we have array list, my array. So if there are 10 threads that are accessing this array concurrently, the data inside the array will get